I would like to begin by thanking the organisers for inviting me down Mallow Republic Commemoration Committee. It is such a privilege to commemorate alongside you our gallant heroes of the War of Independence, and indeed all volunteers in our fight for Ireland's freedom. Honoured to be standing at this site of the beautiful monument dedicated to the Mallow Battalion column. Surrounded by the hills of Cork in this tranquil setting, it must have been a very different scene 99 years ago. Young men in the prime of their lives, taken cruelly, taken by the hand of British colonial rule. Born of a different era, these young men could have been enjoying themselves with sport, dances and ladies, went on to have wives, children and grandchildren. However, this path was not for them. Instead, the decision they made was to join their comrades in the Irish Republican Army, a decision which no volunteer takes lightly. Any volunteer that joins up, they know the certainties: death, imprisonment, long years imprisonment, degrading and inhuman treatment. The Mallow Battalion column, under Commandant Jack Cunningham, occupied a position about a mile south of Mourneabbey. A conference of senior British officers was being held at division headquarters in Cork around that time, and the intention was to attack a convoy travelling either to or from the conference. 13 IRA riflemen were posted on the rising ground west of the main road. Sections armed with shotguns were also positioned on the eastern side of the road. Scouts were positioned and always made ready by the early hours of the morning of the 15th of February. They would have left their bases in the early hours of the morning, lying in concealed positions. And sometimes the frost and the snow or rain, like we have today, would be there. And I remember talking to a guy, and he was telling me that his grandfather told him that they were out in operations, and the trench coat that he had, he couldn't move it with the frost. It was so far ingrained in the arm of the jacket. But anyway, as it happened, cycling into Mallow on the Burnford Road that morning, a local lady, Siobhan Larkin, encountered 2 lorry loads of troops and police. Aware that an IRA operation was planned at Mourneabbey, she immediately became suspicious of the mission of the occupants of the 2 enemy lorries. When she reached Mallow, she asked Daniel MacDonald, the Mallow Company IO, to get to Mourneabbey and warn the officers there. MacDonald cycled to Mourneabbey along the main road and located the battalion commandant Tagburn near the southern end of the ambush position. Together they crossed the Clyde, a stream flowing parallel to the site beside the road, to the position where Commandant Cunningham was with the riflemen. One of the IRA sections managed to fight their way out of the trap along this road. 4 others were shot dead on the rising ground to the left. Within a few minutes, firing started to the northeast of the ambush position. Protective sections were then engaging British troops. Reports came in indicating the presence of enemy forces on 3 sides of the position. Suddenly, the column found that it was in the role of ambushed rather than the ambusher. The British forces were equipped with machine guns, armoured vehicles. In the circumstances, the column was forced to withdraw, fighting its way out as best it could Sections to the west of the road were lucky, and that one of the British detachments was slow and taken up the position, leaving a gap through which they were able to retreat westwards through towards Drumahane. However, the sections on the eastern side where the first shots were fired fared badly. 3 men, Patrick Flynn, Mourneabbey, aged 25, Patrick Dorgan, Highland, aged 22, Eamon Creedon, Clohane, 20, were shot dead. Another man, Michael Looney, Ireland, aged 30, died later of his wounds. 8 prisoners were taken, of whom 2 were subsequently executed at Cork prison, where they were getting interrogated. They were Patrick Rowan, aged 24, of Greenhill, and Thomas Mulcahy Torreen, aged 18, both of whom were members of the Burnfort Company. It was discovered some time later that it was an informer by the name of Dan Shields who gave details of the position of the ambush to the British authorities. Shields was also responsible for a raid 2 weeks later on 2 Republican columns at Nad near Bantry, in which 3 volunteers lost their lives. I only became aware today, a little while back, that Dan Shields was a specialist in his field, and he was part of the British operation, and they were trying to wipe out the Cork battalions and Cork brigades and sections. Unfortunately, with informers, it has been a trait that has happened in all campaigns right throughout the quest for Irish freedom. It has happened in the north, it has happened in every county in Ireland, where people have either taken for money or personal gain one way or another. And there's nothing lower than an informer. And while I'm at it, I would just like to say, I was at Upton last night, and I went round the graves in Cork today, this morning, and hearing the stories from my good friend Paul here. And Charlie Haughey wanted to commemorate these guys, these traitors to Ireland, these Crown forces. He wants to come to Cork here and talk to the people, and he might change his mind, or he might get something else. Anyway, I say I would like to pay tribute to Siobhan Langford. Violent efforts in the hours leading up to the ambush. Our history illustrates the immeasurable role played by the daughters of Ireland. The Cumna Ban and all the women in the farmhouses in the hills and everywhere who attended to the needs, the food, the flying columns, attended to the wounds, and looked after the flying columns. My own mother and my sisters, they went through the same. The harassment, dedication while Kevin was in prison and on the hunger strike. And they stood by Kevin, while unfortunately the church put great pressure on my mother and my father and my brothers and my sisters to end the hunger strike. But my mother had given Kevin her solemn oath that she would not interfere. She knew what he was doing was right, and she stood by him to the bitter end. So this is the woman of Ireland. There's 3 men that have really took to me. One is James Conley. He was born in Edinburgh, came over here as a British soldier, but he could see the hurt and destruction that was going on in Ireland. He came back to help the Irish people and the Irish nation. And he fought in the 1916 Rising, was badly wounded, and the Crown forces wanted the revenge, and they carried him out in a stretcher, tied him to a chair, and executed him in Kilmainham jail. Another great man, a great-great-grandson of a man that left Ireland, one of the greatest leaders in history, was John Fitzgerald John Fitzgerald said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I think these men up in the Dáil, I'm not even going to call them men, quislings, want to take a wee notion to that. And the last, or not the last, but one of the men, great men, was Bobby Sands. And I'm very good friends with a friend of his, a cellmate, comrade from Balahi, the name of Colm Scullion. And we had many good chats. And Colm had told me that Bobby was a prolific writer. And Bobby would write on the walls poems or rhymes or whatever, songs. And he said if the screws and the establishment had to have any bit of common sense, they would have come in and recorded or photographed the writings on the wall. But they're lost forever. But Bobby did write a lot of stuff. One of the great songs is I Wish I Was Back Home in Derry. But at this particular moment, I'm happy to be here in Cork. But anyway, Bobby said, and one of the great sayings, he said, the day will dawn when all people of Ireland will have the desire for freedom to show. It is then that we will see the rising of the moon. And as we leave here from this commemoration, I will take with me the spirit of 1921. Where am I of it?